Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Saturday, May 4th. I think it's Kentucky Derby Day. If not, then Mark, you better edit this out. If it is, then happy Derby Day. It's Jill on Money, and this is the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. And so many of you will contact us by going to jillonmoney.com, clicking the Contact Us button, and you ask a question. But the topics are so often focused on retirement. And so for today and tomorrow, we want to give you a little snippet of an interview that we conducted at Jill on Money Live with one of my favorite return guests. Her name is Teresa Ghilarducci. She is a labor economist. She is a professor, and she's also an author. And I really think she has such a cogent way of talking about retirement and some of the issues surrounding it. The reason we are having her on and the reason we interviewed her for Jill on Money Live is that she has a new book out, which is called Work, Retire, Repeat. Now, if you want to learn more about Jill on Money Live, that's where you have access to quarterly live webinars and bonus content like this whole interview with Teresa Ghilarducci. Then you can just go to the website, jillonmoney.com. And, again, you'll find out it's $35. Pretty low bar. So I would encourage you to check it out. Today, we are going to focus on what Teresa calls a two-tiered retirement system and why this country is in a retirement income crisis. Here's the first part of our interview with Teresa Ghilarducci. You are really talking about a retirement system flaw in the United States that has led to almost what you call, I think, like a two-tiered retirement system. So can you explain what is going on right now according to your analysis and research?
Right. So you've been talking about it for years as well because you saw it coming, I saw it coming, experts saw it coming, and what is it? It is a retirement income crisis. It's not a challenge, it's not a problem, it's actually a crisis. Most people approaching retirement now or like in the middle of retirement don't have enough money to maintain their living standards that they reached when they were workers. And I had to check my numbers, double check, triple check, because I almost couldn't believe my eyes. Because before, 20 years before, retirees who had lived, lived their lives and did the right thing and worked for a living, could maintain their middle class standard, their lower middle class standard, or even their upper income standard. They owned their house, they had a pension, they had enough, in the retirement accounts. And for the past 10 years, and for future retirees, they won't be able to do that. So what happened? Well, the top 10% were able to accumulate enough in their retirement accounts. They had help from federal tax deductions, and if they lived in a high income tax state, they also got deductions from their state income tax, and they had jobs for their whole lives, for their whole work lives, and their employer contributed money. So if you were in that situation, and again, it's about 10, 15%, then you did have enough money when you retired, and you were able to retire. And you were healthy, because you had actually a job that didn't break down your body, or your mind. But for most people, they did not have that kind of a life. They had a divorce. The couple of recessions that they lived through, what boomers lived through, actually affected their hours, their earnings, or actually their jobs. And they were likely not to have an employer with a 401k plan, or with any kind of pension plan for at least half the time of their life. So they come into retirement, retirement age, without enough money in their retirement accounts to supplement Social Security. And just one more, Philip, because I just found this out about 6 months ago when I presented this paper at the American Economics Association. They also did not come into a retirement with a fully paid house. I thought for sure that workers at least had home equity, that I knew that the retirement accounts were kind of bifurcated, that some people had a lot and most people had just very little or none at all. But I thought that almost everybody, at a certain age, around 60, had some home equity. But I was surprised that over 40 years, 90% of the population did not increase their home equity. And that was because once I explored more, they had home equity loans, they didn't have to put very much down. So that old saw that the house is the most important place where the middle class, have their wealth, actually isn't true. So there we are. We are coming into peak, 65. Most people now are reaching 65. The youngest boomers are now 65, and most people do not have enough money. Some people do. That's the one retirement, but for the bulk of people, they won't have enough money to maintain their living standards.
We'll link to everything about Teresa Ghilarducci's work. It's so interesting, and we'll have the second part of this interview tomorrow. We thank you so much for listening. It's always about you guys. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.